Hi everybody, it's the Gregarious Giggler here, coming to you from my secret location in Europe.
They buy you dinner, open your door. Other than that, what are they good for, men?
From now on, I'm just going to give you updates about phone calls that I have, either phone calls or written conversations that I have with guys over the dating apps, so that you can understand what I'm going through outside of the actual dates. And today, the one that I want to talk to you about is a guy that I really liked for months. And I'm not even half joking about this. This was an ongoing thing for months, and now we're not going to see each other, presumably. Several months ago, I took a trip somewhere in Europe. And while I was on this trip in Europe, I was using Tinder and I met a guy who lived in a town near where I was. He and I hit it off and we seemed to really, get along over chat, and then eventually we spoke over the phone and he was even helping me with stuff over the phone. We ended up not being able to meet for dinner the night that I was going to be in his town visiting because he had an emergency with his dog, and his dog had broken its paw or something, and he couldn't find anybody to watch the dog for him, so he had to stay at home. I didn't know if this was a real excuse or not. I mean, it's kind of like my dog ate my homework kind of a thing. I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe his dog really did have a problem and he really did have to stay at home with the dog. And I just said, well, that's a shame. I wish that we could meet, but say lovey. So we stayed in touch and he added me on Facebook, which I very rarely do with people that I don't know. I very rarely accept them or add them on Facebook because I don't want them seeing my photos. I don't want them knowing where I am or where I work. Especially people that I meet on Tinder, but I liked him and I felt a good connection with him, and especially since he had been helping me with things. He helped me book tickets online that I needed for my traveling, and he helped me compose a letter. So I felt like it was okay, we could be friends on Facebook, probably also because I didn't plan to ever be in his neck of the woods ever again, and so I figured, why not? We can just be friends online. And I'm not a stalker, so I don't go to people's pages, actually. It's very rare that I'll go to somebody's page and start looking through their photos. And we stay in touch for quite a while, and he flirts with me and sends me messages and things, and one night we stay on the phone for over an hour talking. I really liked it. I thought, wow, this guy is really nice. Finally, a nice conversation with somebody, because usually the chats that I have with guys over the phone are about 5 to 10 minutes long. They're not very interesting. So while I'm talking to this guy, I start thinking, wow, what a shame that we live far apart. He lives in a very remote area of Europe. I'm probably never going to meet this guy. This guy was an exchange student in high school in Oregon, and I'm from Washington State, from Vancouver, Washington, which is on the border with Portland, Oregon. He was an exchange student for a year in Tigard. Then he tells me he's actually been to Vancouver, Washington. There are Americans who don't even know where Vancouver, Washington is. And so I was like, this is destiny. This is kismet. And then there were other things that we had in common that were just, kind of nice, and we enjoyed talking to each other. So we continued talking to each other for a while, and then I told him that I was moving home to the United States. While I was there, he wrote me, and I hadn't heard from him in a while. Oh, how are you doing, and what's going on, and all that kind of normal stuff. I was really happy to hear from him. I was glad that he'd reached out. Most guys don't. He knew that I was there in Dallas. He knew that I wasn't anywhere near him. So he was just checking in, saying hi. So then I got curious. I went to his Facebook page. Relationship status, in a relationship. And I was really shocked by this because he'd never said anything to me before. And I saw that he had a girlfriend. And I started looking through more pictures, and there were a lot of pictures of them together. So I wrote him a message and I said, hey, can I ask you something? Sure. Do you have a girlfriend? Yes, I do. Since when? I asked. because I was thinking, well, this must be recent. This must be within the last couple months since I haven't talked to him. 5 years they've been together. 5 years. 5 years. What? Why didn't you tell me that you had a girlfriend? Well, Lisa, if I didn't want you to know, I wouldn't have added you on Facebook for you to see. I mean, that's like not technically lying, but it's not being honest either. He's pulling this as, well, in my defense, you should have looked at my relationship status. And so I got a little bit irritated. I wasn't really into him at that point because I was distracted with being in the States and I was nowhere near him, and do I really care because there are other guys? Well, I mean, what's the situation? It's not really something that I can talk about over the phone. It's better that I talk to you about it over a glass of wine. Well, that's not happening since I'm in Dallas and you're there. Why don't you just tell me what's going on? Because like I said, Lisa, it's complicated and I can't really talk about it. Fine, I dropped it. I didn't talk to him. Well, I hope you understand I'm not interested in communicating with somebody who's in a relationship. That's fine, he said. So we didn't talk till a few weeks later. He writes me on his own and asks how I am, that I'm fine. As it happens, I'm moving to your part of the world. I was moving right down the street, essentially, from him, and his town was pretty much right next to mine. Wow, how nice, and that's great, great. Well, why don't you tell me about this relationship business that you're in? Finally, after him skirting around the issue, I said, listen, I'd like to meet you, but I'm not going to unless you tell me what's going on, because it's not fair to me. So he told me that he's been in a relationship for 5 years with his girlfriend, but he doesn't know if he's in love with her anymore because she has some behavioral issues that he doesn't like, and character traits, let's say, that he's not a fan of or fond of. He'd like to leave her, but he's in a difficult position because they live together. And they've been living together for a while, and she moved for him to his town all the way from Switzerland. Totally different country. I don't know, it's quite a pickle you're in. Sorry to hear that. I said, well, I mean, we can be friends and talk, but I'm not gonna date somebody who's in a relationship with someone else. And then I became a woman, and I just fell into a little bit of a trap, because then he and I talked on the phone one day for like 3 hours. Then we talked the next day, 2 hours. Talked the next day for several hours. Liked talking to him and wanted to continue talking to him. And he really liked me, and he said some very nice things about me. How much he'd like to see me in person and talk to me and go out on a date with me. Well, you can't do that because unless you're broken up, I'm not going to go out with somebody who's in a relationship already. What a shame. Such a shame that you can't cheat on your girlfriend, I know. I was wrong to talk to him because I started to really like him and I started to have emotions for him, even though I don't really know him that well. I leave Dallas. He wishes me a safe flight. We don't talk for several days. He's in another country while I'm in Dallas, actually, a different country than where he's from and where I'm moving to. And he's studying to be a pilot. And he's in this other country, and I tell him I really like postcards, and I'd really like a postcard. Of course, Lisa, I'll bring you a postcard. He tells me he's not only purchased me 1 postcard, but he's purchased me 4 postcards. Man after my own heart. Love jokes and I love postcards. We don't talk for like a week on the phone, but he stays in touch and he tries to call me while I'm traveling. So when I try to call him, he's not available. But his messages are long and they're nice and, there's nothing wrong. The day he leaves this other country to go back to his country, it's like a completely different guy. He says, I can't talk. We'll talk later. I pick up on this right away. He must be around his girlfriend. He's not as sweet, not as gentle, not as tender. He's very curt, and nothing has happened. One day, I start to get a little insecure about the whole thing, and I write him and I say, look, are you still interested in seeing me? Why are you asking me this, Lisa? You know I want to see you. Well, because you seem a little distant and I don't know what's going on. And I need to know if you're still in a relationship with your girlfriend. As I told you, Lisa, it's complicated. But I'll talk to you about it in person. This is all through text. One evening he tells me, well, I have a friend coming to stay with me for like 4 days. And then as soon as he leaves, I'm going to come see you. And I got excited. I did. I got excited. He's still interested. That's a good thing, right? I was acting ridiculously stupid. Yes, we have a good connection, but he's still in a relationship with somebody. And he's also not being honest with me. He's not telling me what the situation is. And that's not fair to me. And it's certainly not fair to his girlfriend. I said, I would like to have a date with you. I'd really like that. Then he started saying something about he'd come over to my apartment and he'd cook dinner. I don't remember that we ever talked about, oh, yes, when you were still in Dallas, we were talking about that I would come over and cook you dinner. No, I don't think that's a great idea. But we'll see each other in the next few days. Good night, Lisa. Good night. That night, I started to have a conscience grow on me. So I sent him a 3-minute voice message on WhatsApp. Look, you know I like you. You know I want to meet you. You know that I enjoy talking to you. But I'm feeling guilty about this whole thing, and I don't think it's a good idea if we meet. I was thinking about how I would feel if I were your girlfriend and you were talking to some other girl, and I wouldn't like it. But I really don't think it's a good idea if we communicate anymore, and I really just don't think that it's a good idea if we see each other. I sent him this message at like 2:30 in the morning, and I knew that he wasn't going to see it till the next day. I had a sense that it would either be that he would try to convince me that everything would be okay, like if we could just meet in person, then we can talk about this. And I knew how that was going to go down, because I've been out with enough guys to know how this whole thing works out. They want to see me in person so that they can put their hand on my cheek and they can look into my eyes and they can tell me, I have so many problems with my girlfriend, but you're so beautiful. And I didn't want that. I didn't want to be seduced. And I knew that that was why he wanted to tell me in person and not over the phone. It was either going to be that, or it was going to be, all right, sorry to hear that. Good luck to you. Whatever. The next morning, I woke up and I had 3 messages on WhatsApp, and I read his first because I was dying to see what he had said. He said, okay. Okay. Okay! I barely had my eyes open. I had just woken up, and I started yelling at the phone, okay? After weeks and months of talking and getting to know each other, and now I'm like down the road from you after coming from halfway across the world where we had been talking for hours upon hours on the phone, and your response to me saying, I don't think it's a good idea if we see each other is okay. I was thunderstruck. I wanted him to fight for me. I wanted him to say, no, I really want to see you. I really want to see you, Lisa, and I'm going to tell you what's going on with my girlfriend. Maybe I wouldn't have liked what he had to say. Maybe I wouldn't have agreed to see him still, but to just say, okay, that's all I'm worth to you is okay. I was mad the whole day. By the end of the day, I got over it. Pretty much had forgotten his name by the end of the day. And by the end of the day, I decided, okay, well, this is a good thing. This way I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to argue with him. The next day, he sends me a message. Hi, Lisa. If you would like to send me your address, I can send you the postcards that I bought for you. For me, it's not a problem. So I sent him another voice message. Hi. So I gather from your response of okay to my other message that you are still with your girlfriend, and you have not told me what your situation is, and I would really appreciate it if you could tell me what's going on. I don't have anything to explain to you, Lisa. You know that I don't like being on the telephone. So in that case, let's just forget everything, and you can go your own way. And I wrote, okay. And then he wrote, I bought you those postcards from the heart, so if you'd like to send me your address, I would be happy to send them to you. And I wrote, you're very nice to have bought me those postcards, but I think that if you're sending me on my own way without an explanation, it's best that I not give you my address. Good luck to you in the future. And then he wrote, as you like. I'm sorry that I told you as much about myself as I did. Even after your 2,167 questions and the hours on the phone that we spent chatting, you still don't understand anything about me. So it's almost as though I didn't tell you anything about myself, because you still don't understand anything. I hope that you have a splendid stay here. You're very lucky to get to choose wherever you want to live. I'm sure that you are a special person. Good luck to you. Part of that sounded a little catty to me, and part of it sounded very sweet. So do you mean that it's my fault that I don't understand you enough? Never heard back from him. Basically, the lesson of the day for men, don't cheat on your girlfriends. And lesson of the day for women is, if you know he has a girlfriend, probably not a good idea to start talking to him. I'm really glad I cut it off. I'm really glad that I didn't see him. I'm really glad that we didn't meet up. And that is why you don't have a girlfriend. Or at least in this case, why you shouldn't have a girlfriend. Maybe your girlfriend left you. Let me put it this way. This is why I am not your girlfriend. Bye, everybody.